Okay, so today we are here with the Vision Without Eyes team today with Dahlia and Mr. Rob Freeman. Once again, I've interviewed him in the past. So they're doing an event. When are you doing the event? When's the next event, Rob?
Sure. The next one is May 4th to 9th, right here in London, Ontario, Canada. And, you'd be interested to know that in the 2 days before that, we're actually doing telekinesis as well.
Nice,
so
nice.
It's being thrown in as an optional thing for people that want to, pay a little bit extra for that. But that will also enhance their mindset. As you know, all this stuff's connected, Ken.
Nice, nice. Very cool, very cool. Okay, so before we talk about the event, I mean, obviously, Rob's pretty well known in the UFO industry, and obviously in the Mindsight industry, he's very well known in that industry and stuff like that. I do want to introduce Dahlia just a little bit because some people may not be too familiar with her. So she's a really good friend of mine and practically my teacher at my school. She's really helped me, energetically evolve this last year, and I'm truly, truly, truly thankful that I got to connect with Dahlia in the past 12 months or so. So, Dahlia, could you briefly introduce yourself a little bit and how you got started in Mindsight and energy work and all this kind of stuff?
So thank you, Ken, and you give me too much credit as your teacher and everything. But so yes, I started doing my energy work training in 2011, and then I became an instructor and doing yin style energy training. And what can I say? Like in the beginning, we actually did play with blindfolds and stuff, and I got really good at being able to feel the difference between everything, feel the difference between colors and sensing items in a box, and got very good at that. But I never even considered trying to do it with visual. And so how did I get started with Rob and Mindsight was maybe it was last year, and I remember deciding to wear my blindfold to bed, and just so I could, and I just remember sitting up and I could see the entire room one day. And I thought, oh my goodness, like I need to revisit this blindfold stuff and do it with vision this time. And so I started looking around and I saw these other teachers out there, but they were doing it with a yang-based system. And like I said, I come from a yin-based energy system. And so I didn't want to have to do, I didn't want to have to practice and learn these hard breaths and having to do this, a ton of energy work. I just wanted to practice and I just wanted to open up. And then a lot of things happened, but I somehow magically found Rob and his online stuff, how he was offering it for free. And I was like, this is perfect. Like they're very yin. They're very yin. You don't have to have any prerequisites. You don't have to study energy work and you don't have to do all of this stuff. You can just play and learn. And so, yeah, I did one video call with Rob, and that was the first time I'd ever actually seen with my mind's eye. Because before I could easily feel, everything apart, but that was the first time I started seeing with my mind's eye. I said, "Wow, this is amazing!" And it was just one call. And then when I went to the seminar, I opened my real time Mindsight opened up just on the second day, I believe. So it opened up really, really fast. So that was just very exciting, and it was an amazing experience. And since then, it's just been amazing experiences. So
yeah. So just sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
I was gonna say, Ken, I know Dahlia is a very humble person, but I will say that she was so good with this Mindsight. When she came to our seminar and she opened in no time, and the depth to what she's able to do with this, I thought, I want this lady demonstrating at my next seminar. So Dahlia agreed to come to Orlando, and of course, the rest is history. You've seen all the videos. We had 23 out of 27 people seeing the room in real time, and Dahlia was going around helping everybody. And there's a ton of videos online, and she's just so connected with this and with all our participants. I'm just so pleased with all the work that Dahlia does.
Yeah, certainly. I know firsthand. I've had healings from Dahlia and stuff like that, so I know Dahlia is like the real deal. I can't say enough good things about Dahlia. So Dahlia, so just real quick before we get to the event, you mentioned yin and yang energy and stuff like that. Just my audience could be possibly a little bit confused about those words because like some people may not be too familiar, with those words. So just real quick, just very briefly, real quick, can you explain the differences between what a yin and yang energy is real quick?
So really quick, I can go for hours, but so basically yin, on the yin side, the energy is more going downwards, and you're kind of putting it downwards, you're keeping it away from the head area. And the yang-based systems, you are going upwards and you're going to the head. And yin is a little bit more about being gentle and relaxed, whereas the yang is a little bit more about doing a lot of effort to, or how do I say it? A little bit more force. And so yang is really good if you're wanting to do telekinesis really fast, or if you're wanting to be a warrior and fight. Using yang energy is excellent because it kind of repels. Yin is more if you are wanting to heal and attract. If you're wanting to have the kind of spirit stuff where you're going out of body and stuff, that's more of a yin side thing. And so yeah, so yin is more about using cool energy. So the energy is cold and cool. And then yang is more about the energy being heated. So if you go to someone that does yang energy work, you're likely going to feel heat coming off of their hands. Whereas if someone's doing yin energy work, you're going to feel coolness coming off of their hands. So that's just a little bit of a background on that.
Yeah, well said. I think that the prime example of a yang person is someone who us three are very familiar with, in my audience's favorite person, most popular person on my channel, Chris Fazio. So like the electrokinesis study does. That's like very stereotypical standard like yang energy. You can't really. I mean, well, I think you can possibly do like electrokinesis with a yin energy. I think it's possible if you're at a very high level, but like generally speaking, that's like a yang energy type demo. So, but anyways, enough with the yang energy type stuff. Let's just get to the event a little bit more. So you mentioned telekinesis. Who's going to be demonstrating telekinesis and stuff like that? And how did that thing come about?
Yeah, so in this last seminar in Orlando, I knew that we needed to bring somebody in to help relax everybody, Ken. In the very first seminar, we had 2 people out of 7 open to seeing the room Mindsight. In the next one, we had 8 of 13. And I said to myself, I want to get it up over 80%. I feel that we should have at least 80% of the people walking away with full seeing the room Mindsight. And you've got to be careful when you put these things out to the universe because it truly comes through. Literally within the next week, this fella, Alex Stefan, called me. Now he's currently in Australia. He's lived in Canada. He's born in Romania. He's lived in the UK. And he was very interested in taking the seminar to learn to see without eyes. And, we really connected well. And we got into, he had heard that I did the UFO stuff, that I've been around the world, like, 20 countries over the last 10 years with all this fancy equipment. So he was very interested in that also. So we connected well. We talked about a lot of different things. And then I asked him what he does. And he said he was a hypnotherapist. And I thought, oh, really? I said, at the seminar, we could use somebody who can kind of help to get people into a very relaxed state. And he said, well, I'm your guy. And so before I knew it, he was coming to the seminar as a facilitator, not just to learn Mindsight, but as a facilitator. And he was there the whole week, and it was great. We all had a fantastic week. And as Dalia will agree, many people have written on their Facebook that this was the most wonderful event in their entire life. It's really a whole change of life thing because of having experienced this. But anyway, in this next seminar coming up here in May in Canada, he cannot come for the entire event. He can only come for the Sunday and the Monday. It starts Sunday, it goes to Friday, right? Everybody arrives Saturday and they leave on Saturday. So he said that he would do a session Saturday night to get everybody relaxed, like we'll do 4 hours, 4 to 6, dinner 6 to 7, 7 to 9. This will be all relaxation, getting everybody prepared for the week. Now he'll also be there Sunday and Monday doing the same things that he did in Orlando, which is pretty cool. But he says, if I'm coming to Canada, I don't want to come for just 3 days. What else can we do? And he then, said, well, would your participants like to do telekinesis? I know, Dalia, in Orlando, we talked a little bit about telekinesis, and, he does this. He trains telekinesis. So we agreed that we would add that onto the seminar as an optional thing at the beginning. Okay, so if people want to come earlier and, pay for that, they can take the telekinesis as well. And, learning that or participating in that will help people open up more for the Mindsight. It seems that many of these things are all interconnected. And if you've opened up your mind to telekinesis, well, your mind is also going to be open to seeing the room in real-time Mindsight. So that's how it all came about, Ken.
Nice, nice, very cool. Just want to ask a little bit more regarding telekinesis. So, what exactly? Because I'm, my channel is primarily telekinesis related, so I think my audience will be really intrigued. So what exactly do you guys demonstrate? Like, do you know what a psi wheel is, right?
Yeah.
Is that the type of thing you put in the glass container?
Yeah, he's going to be running that. I'm actually going to be a participant in it. Dalia will be there, and she will be a participant in it. The other demonstrators, we're going to have Claudia also, and you've interviewed Claudia on your channel. She will be demonstrating.
Wait, Claudia is demonstrating telekinesis?
No, she's going to demonstrate the Mindsight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when I say demonstrators, it's demonstrator for the Mindsight. Plus, we're having Nikki, who just, opened up in Orlando, and she's fantastic. She's like a Dalia 2. Okay. But anyway, getting back to the telekinesis, it will be something that Alex is putting on. I can look up and read you the little write-up that he's put in the page if you like. If you'd like me to read.
I speak a little bit about the telekinesis too. So Alex has actually done telekinesis seminars several times, and they've been very successful. By the end, everyone is able to, at the very least, they're able to move the psi wheel. But he says it happens really fast. And at the end of the last one, many people were moving the can, including Alex. So they were able to move a can on the table. So
wait. So just to, sorry to cut you off, but this is really exciting stuff because myself included, I've been at this telekinesis game for years now. Some people are doing it for decades. So you're saying if you go to this event, so you can see him possibly move a can, in what type of way? Is he projecting energy out of his hands, and is the can moving, or is it just purely with intention?
Well, what I was saying is that's what has happened before, is where the people were able to do it themselves, and he was able to do it. I don't know if he will actually demonstrate it, but he will get you to the point where you are doing something. And the type of energy, he says that it is the most relaxing energy. You're not using force at all. It's just kind of, in fact, he says if you're going to come, throw away all of your knowledge on telekinesis and just don't even practice. Come in with a totally fresh mindset on how telekinesis works. And it should be very easy.
Nice.
Well, Ken, maybe you'd like to come to the seminar.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any cost for you. You could come as a, demonstrator, whatever. We can talk about that offline.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely think about that. But definitely, if there's one in the U.S., yeah, I would have to consider it for sure. One day. Let's get to the Mindsight, which is what I wanted to primarily talk about. So is it pretty much the same thing as Mindsight? Pretty much you mentioned in these previous events, the majority of participants who attended the event, they're just Mindsight opened up. Is that realistic expectation that people can expect when they attend this event?
Yeah, I would say, remember I was saying that the reason I brought in Alex was I'd like to get to 80% or higher. We actually reached that goal we had 23 out of 27. So if you do the math, 23 divided by 27, that was 85%.
Wow,
So
that's incredible.
my view is anything above 80% is good.
Mhm.
Now, you know, whether you will open up to the full seeing the room mindsight depends on many things. Literally everybody reaches the intuitive level where when you have your mask on, you close your eyes, you can sense things in various different ways. Like, for example, if I was going to hold that color up and you've got your eyes closed with the mask on, you'd feel or you'd see a very, very fine or discrete or light haze of yellow. Like you get yourself very quiet and relaxed, and the right brain things can come through. You know, when we're in that intellectual side, it's just too much noise. You got to get that signal to noise ratio down, right? But at the intuitive level mindsight, you sense things, and it can come through many different ways. You could get a very vague haze of color. If we're showing the shapes, for example, you know, we have these cards. You could get a very vague image of a triangle or a square, whether it's solid or open. That's at the intuitive level. You could even hear where your own voice tells you. You hear a voice, it's yourself. And it says, that's red, that's a square. You could feel it, Ken. I remember when I practiced with Wendy, she held up a pink card and it almost threw me back. I had my mask on and, you know, with my eyes closed, and I felt this energy coming at me. It was almost like it was, and it was like, wow, what was that? And I described it. I said, I feel like this energy. And she said, well, what color is it? I said, well, I don't see the color, but I feel that it's pink. And she said, right, lift your mask up. It's pink. So, you know, you can feel it on various different levels. You can sense it. And this is some of the stuff, you know, Dalia was talking about earlier about she was sensing things. So that's at the intuitive level. And everybody reaches that. Like even when I've done, you know, sort of trial 1 hour sessions online for free, that's what Dalia took. Everybody reaches that level. It's not hard. Every single person I've ever shown it to, even casual friends that have dropped by the house and they want to try it, within the hour, they're seeing these things, they're sensing them. But we're using that as a stepping stone to reach the real-time seeing the room in mindsight level. Okay, so once you've opened up your mind to this sensing level, this intuitive mindsight, now you're ready to go to the next level. And that's where, you know, we want to get at least 80% of the people reaching that. And we were very successful, you know, with the help of Dalia, you know, at the last session of reaching that. We reached 85%. So, you know, your question was, can everybody expect to receive that? Most will, but whether you do or not, it depends on many things, like your belief system, you know, the things you've been exposed to in your life. What are your subconscious beliefs? There's a lot of stuff that, you know, Dalia and I, as trainers, we don't know. All we can do is use everything we've learned and all our abilities and our own intuition to try to help each person. But whether they will break through to that level, you know, it depends on many things, including the state of mind they're in that day. You know, maybe they had a phone call, a distressing phone call before they came into class that was very upsetting. Well, you know, they'll be lucky if they can reach the intuitive state. Or, you know, maybe they're worrying about something. They're, you know, worried about their job or their spouse or something. There's many things that we're not in control of, and even the person themselves is not. So we cannot promise that everybody will open, but we will do our best to facilitate it to the best of our ability. And like I say, the last seminar, we reached 85%. And personally, I feel that 80% plus is an excellent goal to achieve. I'd like to see 100%. I don't know if that's possible, Ken.
Nice, nice, very cool. Yeah, yeah, but I mean, 80% is certainly a pretty high number, and yeah, that's just really exciting. Like exactly what type of, like, you know, exercises do you do at the event?
Yeah, so, I've got many of the things right here, for example, at the intuitive level, we've got these symbol cards, there's 8 cards, they're open and closed. We use those at both levels. We've got, just regular playing cards, with bigger writing. We've got letter cards, for example. Well, we don't have these specific ones at the group, but I use these because they're white on black. And in the darkness of your mask, the white shows up really nicely against the black. What else do we have? Another common thing is, dice, the colored dice. But we really just start out getting the people very relaxed and trying to get them out of their left brain, and it's a very simplistic way to look at it. And it's something that people can understand. And in, psychology, it may be slightly different, but that doesn't matter. A lot of it's metaphorical, and it's just so that we can understand somehow, some way how this works. And we're really just getting people out of that left, intellectual, ego-based, intelligent, reasoning, logical side of us, and into the play side. The side that's connected to that inner child, that little boy, that little girl that's still there, including the feelings and everything. The sensing side, the creative side, the fun, the playful side. And, it can be a little bit easier for the ladies, not always. For the guys, it can be a little bit more of a challenge. I don't want to be too general in these things, but, unfortunately, guys are raised in more of a regimented society where, you're not allowed to cry, you're not allowed to express your feelings. And honestly, if you want to learn the Mindsight, you've got to allow yourself to get into your right brain. You've got to allow yourself to reconnect to that inner child, which is connected with all this stuff. So you've got to throw away all this prim and proper stuff and, being on your best behavior and putting on a show with the side of you that you present to society, which is kind of like a layer. It's a persona. It's a bit of your ego. You got to just throw all that away. And I always tell everybody, we're doing everything we do in the class is the opposite of school, Ken. Totally the opposite. It's like you can slouch, you can look out the window, daydream, even fall asleep in class. It's very beneficial for you. Like, even the teacher would, in your normal school would say, pay attention. And I say, look, don't pay attention to me. Just hear this voice off in the distance and allow yourself to daydream. So everything is directly the opposite. I can remember when I was in school and I used to look out the window daydreaming. I was more interested in what was going on outside, and my teacher would say, Robert, come back to the class. Well, in our case here, it's like, no, leave the class. Like, get into your little daydream world, drift off. I can't tell you how many times when I was practicing, with Wendy, when we were together practicing, we've gone our own ways now. She's doing her thing with her seminars and so on, and I'm doing my thing. But she used to encourage me to just daydream. And when she would see my head start to go down, like literally I was, falling into that hypnagogic state, and she'd start holding cards up, I'd get every single one, But now, as soon as I became aware and I tried to kind of like, sort of embarrass or whatever, then I wouldn't see stuff. And it's like, you just got to get out of that left brain and allow yourself to get into the right brain, drift into that other side. And, many people say, well, we don't use 95% of our brain. Well, yeah, that's because we're in the left brain. We don't use most of our right brain. So what we're trying to teach people is to actually use your right brain. You've got it. You're born with it. Use it. You've got this ability. Let's let it reappear. And the other thing, Ken, too, is, I've heard many stories around this that, when children are, say, around 2 years old, you may have had an experience yourself, or Dalia, even me. I remember more recently when we kind of reopened me in the seminar here, it was like deja vu for me. It felt like I was going back to when I was a little kid. Okay. And the reason is because when you were 2 years old or in around that age, you may very well have gone, from your bedroom out to the kitchen with your hands over your eyes and said, "Hey, mommy, I can see you. I can see you with my hands over my eyes." And unfortunately, your mother would have said, "Well, Ken, honey, that's just make believe. That's not real." And of course, it shuts down. As children, we believe everything our parents say and we trust them. And we need to learn what is the difference between real and make believe. And if mommy says that's make believe, then we move away from it. So many children operate this ability spontaneously when they are in and around the 2 years of age range. And unfortunately, because this is not really known in society, it gets shut down. But what we're trying to do is reconnect to that ability that you already have and revisit it. So many people will even say, "This feels familiar." Of course it feels familiar. You probably operated it all the time when you were a little boy or a little girl. You may have even played in your room where you had your hands over your eyes and you're just playing. "Oh, I can see everything." And you just accept it as normal because it is normal.
Right. Rob, I'm sure you can relate to this because, you're obviously a very successful entrepreneur in the past and stuff like that. And I've been an athlete my whole life and stuff as well. And like, I've been told my whole life, like, work hard, work hard, work hard. It's all about hard work, just grind and get to the top. You got to beat everybody out, eliminate all the competition. That type of attitude, is what I've been brainwashed and conditioned by society all my life. But, and I still, a big part of me still has that same mentality, but I'm applying that in a very different way now where I'm like, especially at me and Dalia's school, our teacher will always emphasize like, just relax, relax, relax. And it's all about relaxation. And it's just this, I have a feeling that this new way of thinking, which is all about relaxation, is going to be the norm soon in society, because it's just, we've been just totally brainwashed to, think this way. But, I think we're finally going into this, like, as what we like to call this yin energy, this like feminine side. So yeah, of thinking almost. And I think that's what's like really emerging right now. Did you kind of relate to that?
That's what it seems. Really, I mean, once again, I'm looking at it very simplistically, but most of us are living in our left brain, and especially males. And if we can just, at the very least, balance it out, like, even being in the middle more so that we can access both sides, I think we as a society would do a lot better.
Yeah, certainly.
I remember at the last seminar in Orlando, Rob actually told me, I'm really interested in seeing how this one plays out because we have more men. The first two seminars, we had more women, and this one, more than 50% were men. And yes, in the beginning, everyone was very adult and left-brained. And after a couple of days and a lot of the games we were playing, and Alex, he did a lot of hypnosis where he was bringing us to a childlike state. We all got very playful, and every single person was able to see much more than they started with. So like, even though like we're not saying it's 100%, everyone was still able to, at the very least, see colors and stuff. They way more than they started. So there was a lot of success. It was lifelong friendships. For me though, what was really big was seeing someone open for the first time. It's the same as seeing your child walk for the first time, or like your child going to the bathroom for the first time. Like it's so exciting, and it's such an incredible experience. It's lifelong memory for them. They'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And then we have this shared experience, so we become these lifelong friends. So I'm still very much connected to the people from the seminar I went to the first time. Even the people from the first seminar, I'm connected with them too. And so you just make these lifelong friends because of this ability that opens up, and it's it's been incredible. and so I noticed that every time Rob has another event, the people from the previous ones are wanting to go just because, not just to grow, but just because like this is incredible. Like what you experienced there, and and how much excitement, and yeah, it's just wonderful.
Sure. And I'll say too, Ken, that once somebody has attended an event, they don't have to pay for any of the other events at that same level. For
Oh,
example, they've already paid to come to a Seeing Without Eyes seminar, and let's say they're one of the 15% that don't quite get it. They've reached the intuitive level, and that's great, but they're not seeing in real time. So they can sign up for another seminar and come for free. They just have to pay, of course, their accommodation, their food, and their transportation, airfare, which, of course, is not a small amount either, but the seminar part of it's free. And we've got several people coming to this one here in London, Ontario, Canada, in May from the Orlando seminar. And the idea, too, is those people are excited to help the new people also open up. Like, for example, in the Orlando seminar, we had two guys, Bob and Neil, who were in the very first seminar. Remember where we only had 2 of 7 open? That was a year ago now. And, they came back, they wanted to actually open up, and both of them did. And once they opened up, they got very involved with helping the others open up too in the class. And I remember various people that both Neil and Bob were helping, whose Mindsight came open while we were all right in the room that one evening, for example. So it's a very joyful experience. For some, it can be a little emotional. I know of 2 particular people who were, crying when their Mindsight opened. And quite honestly, it affects, me as a trainer also. Like, you can't help but feel moved. I mean, I can't speak for Dalia, but when I see somebody who all of a sudden is, seeing everything you're holding up in front of them and reading words, how can you not feel moved by that? Because, this is something that everybody in society will tell you is impossible. Like, they would say, oh, you don't really believe that. Well, yes, I believe it. I can do it myself. I've experienced it right from ground zero. So yes, it is true. But even though, I've seen this happen many times already with people opening, when you see somebody and you're right there, they're opening for the first time, it's quite an experience, not just for them, but for you as the trainer also.
And I have to add,
very
it's
cool.
also life changing for people. We've had blind people in the last seminar, and it's changed their life. And so that gets very emotional. There was one, his name is John. He's so incredible. He was blind since birth. And on the last day, he asked me to demonstrate I got this a lot, like, hey, can you demonstrate for my family? And then they would give me all of these things to put over. And I'm like, sure, just whatever it takes. And so he asked me to demonstrate for his mom on camera. And I did. And then I said, now, do you want him to demonstrate? And so he's blind since birth, and he's telling her the colors and stuff. And so all of that does get very emotional. And it's very rewarding to see it happen.
Nice, nice, very cool. Rob, you're obviously a very well-known UFO researcher as well. You're big in that industry as well. What are you more passionate about these days? Obviously, you started out in the UFO industry and you're still well-known and you're still active in that field. But what are you more passionate now? Like, do you think Mindsight is more something that you're into now?
It's hard to say where it's going to go. I mean, I'm super passionate about this, but I'll also tell you for the August seminar, we're planning an event in Mount Shasta, California. And, that's a real hotspot. There's many things that happen there. We're going to combine the two, Ken. So
Nice.
I've had a lot of people. It seems that almost everybody that's interested in Mindsight is also interested in UFOs, UAPs, ETs, all that kind of stuff. I would say 80%. I know even in Godrey's at that other seminar, Dalia, that you were at, in the evenings when we went out for dinner, the minute the topic UFOs came up, everybody was talking for hours about it. And not just one person, everybody was contributing. So I've done a poll to see who might be interested in if we combine the two, and literally 80% of the people are. So we're going to have that August, August 9th to 15th. We're just planning it now. And during the day, it'll be Mindsight training. So literally from 10 a.m. till 4:30 will be Mindsight training. Have a couple hours off for a break and dinner and so on. And then from 6:30 to 8:30, we'll do presentations for, Mark McNabb, who I've gone around the world with. He's my documentarian, movie maker guy, Skylight Films. He will present, we've been to 20 countries and we've interviewed hundreds of people and we've seen many incredible things and experienced things. He will present that during that hour and a half. There'll be Q&As where people can ask questions, show and tell where people themselves can, tell their stories and so on. And then from 8 till 11, we'll do a Skywatch. I'll have all my equipment out, the infrared, the thermal, the full spectrum stuff, all the fancy equipment. So we're going to actually combine the two. This is how I actually got into Mindsight. I was thinking that if I could somehow perceive and sense like this, somehow I could connect with our ET friends. So it was actually the ET stuff that got me into Mindsight in the first place.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's a great answer. Rob, you mentioned that, you're not really sure, where these events that you're holding are going, but like, do you, I mean, you're obviously very passionate about this. Do you have a goal in mind? Like, do you want to spread this, like, seeing without eyes stuff to the world? Like, I'm obviously, you're a very successful person. You have a massive influence, and a lot of, massively influential people. Like, do you want to do you have any goals in mind to share this with the world and stuff like that? And like, do you see a vision where this is like mainstream?
Yeah, absolutely. The goal is, in fact, I've got a good friend who 20 years ago saw a vision of this. Okay, so she's very psychic, she's very tuned in, and she saw a school here at my farm. Like, I have a property where I'm overlooking the river here outside of London, Ontario. This is where we're going to hold the seminar. And she had a dream 20 years ago, where maybe even 25 years ago now, where she was seeing a school and I was teaching. And I believe that what she saw was a school for the blind. And so this is the long-term goal, is to have a school right here at the farm. And it wouldn't just be for the blind. The way I envision it, it would be 50% people who are blind or with vision issues, problems, and 50% people who literally want to learn to see blindfolded. For two reasons. We saw this in the Orlando seminar. The people who are sighted and see for the first time blindfolded, they get so excited, and it's like that energy transfers through the whole room, including the blind people. So the blind people see and feel that as a real life example. But also, when the blind people or people with vision issues start opening up with their Mindsight, it's a real motivator for the sighted people. Like, the sighted people, I saw more than one person with a little bit of water in their eyes. Like, you could tell that they were moved by what was happening. And, they think to themselves, wow, a blind person can do this? Then I should be able to do it. So it seems that one helps the other. The energy in the room just circulates around. And so it would not just be for blind people. It would be for sighted people as well, but one to help the other. And I really feel that this would be an international school where people can come and stay, and blind people, maybe they're here for 3 weeks. And during that 3 weeks time, that's what it takes for them to really fully see the room in real time. We're actually planning an event. I'm not sure if even Dalia knows this yet. We haven't had a chance to talk. But next year, we're planning a 3-week event here where it would be primarily for blind people, but for sighted people as well. Again, a lot of this is experimentation. Nobody has the sort of final answer on all this, Ken. You know, everybody has a piece of the puzzle. We're learning. It's a work in progress. This ability is something that's been around from day one, and various times through history, people have experimented with it, even Helen Keller. But it's come and it's gone because, you know, a lot of people find it difficult. But I'm convinced that this time it's coming around big time, and we're going to take it all the way. And we're going to have blind people, no matter how you were blind, whether you were born blind or whether you became blind, you're going to see again. And how cool will that be?
Right, right. Maybe this is a question for Dahlia, but you know, I mentioned this to Claudia, you know, who we're all very familiar with, and I've interviewed her in the past, and I, you know, also to, you know, our friend Heidi, you know, who I'm very close friends with, who's an attendee as well. Wouldn't it be cool, Dahlia, because you're a healer? Wouldn't it be cool if we can even take it even a step further and like maybe completely even like just heal their eyesight and stuff? Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah. What do you think about that, Dahlia?
Yeah, that's something that can be done. Like you can work on both sides of it, but I feel that just doing the Mindsight itself, it overlaps with your actual vision. And so when you are, it's almost like you don't even need your regular eyes because when your Mindsight turns on, you can see a lot more. But there is an overlap that happens where if you are practicing and you normally wear glasses and you put on your blindfold and you forget that you're not wearing the glasses, you usually can see much better. But I've seen it many times where you take off your blindfold and you forget you're not wearing the glasses and you can still see. So it's really interesting how when you forget all about everything, the Mindsight just takes over. You can see more. You can do so much with your Mindsight. And what's really interesting is oh, I just lost my train of thought about that one. But yeah, it's just amazing what you can do with
Yeah.
it.
And I can pick up from that, Dahlia, while you're thinking of what the thought was. I remember just, oh gosh, this was now 3 or 4 years ago. And I told the story at the seminar. I was on the ski hill. I love skiing. I was out west in Colorado, Keystone, Colorado. And I was expecting an important text. And, you know, I was on the chairlift and I had my goggles on. I don't wear my glasses when I'm skiing. You know, it's a pain in the butt under the goggles. They steam up. I don't need them. I can see good for the distance. And that's all that's really important for skiing. Anyway, this important text came through and I lifted my goggles up. I grabbed my phone and I read the whole text as clear as a bell. And just then I thought, wait a minute, I shouldn't be able to read this. I don't have my glasses on. As soon as I thought that, it all went blurry. So Dahlia is absolutely correct. When you're not thinking about it, it just comes out and operates. But it will overlay, and that's where Claudia is going if she does go blind. She does have that condition where she has tunnel vision. That's, you know, it's the RP, the retina pigmentosa, and that it's closing slowly and may disappear on her, and she will rely on her Mindsight to be able to see and get around. She'll likely just wear, you know, dark sunglasses. That'll be like the mask, and she'll be able to navigate around her surroundings. So it does overlap in real time, and it requires more training so that as soon as you realize it's working, it doesn't shut off. You know, it's kind of like that little shy little boy or little girl inside of us and doesn't like to be watched. And if you watch it, it'll just, you know, fold its arms and stop doing what it's doing. That just requires a little more training. That's all.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent explanation, Rob. Dahlia, we spoke about visions with Rob, so I kind of want to ask about your future vision a little bit. It's not yeah, let's talk about this. You know, so this telepathy hype is like crazy right now. Not just like Mindsight. You know, I think some of my audience might be familiar with like all the telepathy tapes that are going around and stuff like that. You know, it's like blowing up on YouTube currently and stuff like that, and it's just like really incredible. Dahlia is like kind of involved with that work a little bit as well, actually, which we're not going to go into too much detail on that, I think, in this video. But Dalia, what is your vision? I mean, a lot of, you're getting a lot of publicity right now and stuff like that. And, you're getting a lot of attention thanks to Rob. What is your vision? Like, do you see yourself like, being like a, renowned teacher? Do you see like, this Mindsight stuff and energy work in general, being mainstream one day?
Yeah, so a couple things. First thing is when I was at the seminar that I first attended in Canada, I remember I kept thinking of my daughter. So my daughter is a non-speaking autistic. She has telepathy abilities. And so I just remember thinking the entire seminar, this reminds me of Lilu, my daughter. I said, this is so similar, except when I practice with her, we're doing things to put her in the left brain, and here we're doing things to put her in the right brain. And I just kept thinking every day, this reminds me of my daughter. Like, this is so related. And then I remember talking to one of the participants, Victoria. She came to the last one too. And I told her a lot about my daughter. And I said, this just reminds me of my daughter so much. And then that very night, so I'm a part of the spelling community for my daughter, and we received the pre-tapes, the first telepathy tapes. And it was the same night I was talking about her so much. And then I remember trying to show it to Wendy, and then I was like, you guys got to see this. This is just like what I was saying. Like, this is what we're doing here is very related to what's going on with my daughter and her telepathy abilities. And then today, it's so related. The way I even come across with the Mindsight, it's very similar to how I teach my daughter, or it's not that I'm teaching her, it's more like I'm getting her into her left brain. But when I'm with the participants at the seminar, I'm using similar techniques to get them into their right brain. And so when I talked to my daughter, she actually has seen like what we were going to do. So she said together we are going to be teaching the world a lot about telepathy, but also she said for me it's about, and it's not just what she says, but I feel this too, about just teaching all of these abilities we have and showing people that it's not impossible. These are just natural born gifts we have, especially like it can start with Mindsight, but we can also just sense objects and do telepathy. So my dream is to be a part of teaching that, to not just spreading awareness about it, but teaching that these are our abilities we all have and helping others to obtain them. I also am very big on helping people who has kids that don't speak, non-speaking autistic kids. I'm very big on advocating how to get them a communication development, like helping them to communicate and get their voice. So that's a really big part of my life too. But all of it's connected. The thing with the telepathy, it's so interesting because my whole last year, I was just trying to get awareness about this way to communicate through spelling, getting them into their left brain and helping them to spell. And then we just kept praying all the time, like, hopefully this awareness will get out there. And then the telepathy tapes come out. I didn't expect it to come out in a spiritual realm, like for people to become aware of it through the spiritual realm. But it just happens to be a realm that I'm very comfortable and familiar with. And so it's exciting times. So yeah, my biggest take is helping people to notice these abilities and to show them. And my daughter, with Mindsight, I just did it one day. I sent the video to Rob in the group. The first time I tried, I said, hey, I've never tried Mindsight with her. Let me try it. I put it on, and she immediately sees right in front of her, like, so easy. And then I was like, oh, can you see behind you too? Immediately, like, she could just see behind her. Didn't even, wasn't hard at all. So yeah, it's just incredible and these are all innate abilities. And that's the one thing I try to get across in these seminars. It's like, this is an innate ability you already have. It's not about you getting an ability. It's about your perception changing so that you know you have it. And once you know you have it, and the way we go about it is we kind of trick the brain into it happening. And then once you see it happening, your brain says, okay, it's a real thing. But once you know you have it, you can do it, and you can do it consistently. And so it's just exciting times, and we see lots of exciting things coming up and happening.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for that explanation. So it looks like we're almost reaching the 1 hour mark. So I guess we'll wrap this interview up. So once again, could you, tell us one more time when the event is? Yeah. Could you tell us when the event is one more time, Rob?
So it's here in London, Ontario, Canada, May 4th to the 9th, 2025. So it's coming up in a couple months. And for those that want to take the telekinesis also, they would come, a day earlier. Normally you'd come Saturday, May 3rd and stay till Saturday, May the 10th. But so you just come on the Friday if you want to attend the telekinesis. And the best place to go to find it is just to go to visionwithouteyes.com. So www.visionwithouteyes.com. There's also a Facebook page of the same name. There's an event up on the Facebook page. If you scroll down on the website, the VW website, you'll see all the information of the event and how to sign up and so on. So I would encourage everybody to look at that web page. There's videos on there as well.
Excellent. Yeah, so I will put the links in the description so people can see it, and people can go check it out. So any final thoughts, guys? Any final thoughts at all, Rob?
Gosh, final thoughts. I guess, my final thought is, a few years ago, people didn't believe that adults could do this. They thought that it was only kids could do this. And I think, Wendy and I were one of the first people of the adult realm that tried doing it, and we got it. And so we've pretty much broken that stereotype now. I mean, even in the group, we had, I'm 71 and can do it. We had Odell, who's 76. He can do it. But I've heard of people in their 90s doing this as well. I've heard of, there's like a bus driver in India who's blind. He can see without his eyes. I'm encouraging Claudia to, in the months to come, to go and get her driver's license back. Because once she continues on with this more, her window of seeing will expand and she can overlap it with her daytime seeing. So there's no reason why they can't give her license back for driving. She says, well, I don't want to drive. I said, well, yeah, but just get your license to show you that, to show everybody that, or yourself, that you have the right to hold this license now because you can see properly. So I guess that would be my last words, is that anybody can do this, Ken. Some, can do it faster. Some it takes a little bit longer, just like learning the piano or playing sports. But everybody ultimately can do it. And everybody for sure can do it very quickly at the intuitive level. Once again, every single person I've ever shown it to, and that's, a few hundred people, can do it within an hour, the intuitive level. So I appreciate you having us on your podcast here today.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Rob. Any final thoughts, Dalia?
I was going to say I really appreciated that about them breaking that stereotype, because I didn't like it either. And I thought, I don't know why people there's still people pushing that idea that you have to be a kid to learn this. And we even had people at the last seminar who were teachers of children. And even in the one before that, and they had only taught children, but they didn't have it open themselves. And so they came to the seminar and they opened, and they even left saying, now I'm going to show them with the patches and with the blindfold, look, I can do it too. And so she was really excited. And so many people at that last seminar, it wasn't just the blindfold they were seeing through. They were seeing through the patches. There were people where we had several layers. Sorry, my screen got there. There were people who had several layers over their eyes, where they had like 8 layers of paper towels or something over their patches, and then the blindfold. And so there was a lot of different ways we were playing. Once it's open, we can just take it to many levels and have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, it's very exciting, and it's very exciting times, and I'm super happy to be a part of it.
Nice. Yeah, thank you for that.
Too, that we also have a YouTube channel, Vision Without Eyes YouTube channel. So there's almost 600
I'm so sorry to cut you
videos.
off. Is that separate from your Rob Freeman YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's separate from the
show...
UFO channel. Yeah. There's a Vision Without Eyes YouTube channel just for the seeing that I've had for the last 8 years. And now there's links to that in the site, like, you know,
Okay. I will put both of them in the
www.visionwithouteyes.com.
description. So
Yeah.
okay, excellent. Well, I will wrap up the interview for now. But Dalia, you mentioned earlier that you could demonstrate for us. Would you be willing to do that?
Yes, I could do it really quick.
Awesome. Yeah, how cool is it that we not only get the, I might cut this part out in the separate pieces where we just have Dalia's demonstration.
All right, so
Yeah, Dalia, let's
sorry, my kids
demonstrate
scratched that out. That does say Vision Without Eyes normally. So I'm just putting this blindfold on, and I have some cards here. So Rob could even hold on. I can see you guys right now, but I'm gonna do it from behind. So this is, oh wait, I can actually see it. Hold on, I can see it in front of me. So good. So this is a closed square. Oh, and let me make sure you guys can see it too. So that is an open circle. You can see that. This is, what's that? That is a triangle, like a open triangle. So one more. That is, what is that one? That's an open triangle again? It's an open square. So
Dalia, would you be able to see if I showed playing cards?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what is that playing card in your screen?
That is a 4 of diamonds.
Okay. And that one?
That is a 3 of clubs.
Okay. And that one?
Jack of clubs. And,
okay.
You could even put small print on the board if you want, or that's a triangle you're pointing to. And that's a plus. That's a square.
Okay. And here is a book on Mindsight. And we have this on my YouTube channel. In the description, there's a link to the PDF of this, Ken. Okay. So Dalia, would you be able to read anything that's in that book?
Yes, it says, after working with this lady for several weeks, I saw her progress becoming slower and slower because of negative influence in her home from other people. And that's true. What I just read is true. Your progress can really slow down.
That's so
There's
incredible.
negative influence around. Yeah, your windows will actually get smaller if you're feeling negative, and so it's interesting. So,
yeah. Oh my God. That was
several layers. It does. I could do.
Dalia, can you turn around and like if I hold up like a number, can you see it? You think?
Yeah, we could try it. Let's try it. So I'm a little like okay, are you holding it up?
Yeah.
So you're gonna hold
my
something,
back
Ken?
windows are a little bit. Sorry, I just saw it in the front. Let's try that again. My back windows are where I can see. So I call it nearsighted. So my back windows, I still need light on that. So when I'm back there, I need and it's far away like that. I kind of need light on it. And so I practice that often, and it's getting much better. So I'm not quite at the point where I can read, but I can see pictures. I can. That's why I was like, I can see the pictures really easy.
Okay. Let me hold up some of the symbols, Dalia.
Okay, let's try it. That one is. That one's a closed circle.
Yeah.
That one is a close. Oh, that's a little. Can we move it around a little? Is that a closed triangle? No, wait.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
yes, it is. And what about this one?
Ooh. Wish the screen was a little bigger. I'm sorry, dropped my thing. Sorry, let me go back. There we go. Okay. That one's a plus.
That's it. You got it.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, that was quite incredible, and
I didn't enough opportunities to work back there, and so I always call it being nearsighted. So in the very beginning, and you'll see this when I'm training people. If you can share that video with Alex, actually, can you guys see me? It's getting a little weird.
Could be the internet connection.
Well, I was saying, I call it being nearsighted. So you'll see, I'll have a light and I'll have them really close by. It's almost like you're at an eye doctor and it's super close and they can barely get anything. And then eventually, it's so fast how it works. And I get farther away, and then I can go 2 houses down and they'll still see it. Or I could be behind them. And as long as they don't, their mental stuff doesn't come in, they know where I am, I could be 2 houses down behind them and they'll see it. So there's a video with Alex, actually, the one that's going to do the telekinesis seminar. And there's a video of me doing that where I'm getting really, really far away from him and I'm behind him and he's really quickly like, it's this color, it's this color, And so that was really fun. So yeah, so the ones behind me, I don't have enough opportunity to go really, really far and to be able and to read. It's a little bit harder, so that's why those ones aren't as developed. But I am going to be working on that like more. So it doesn't take
very cool. Rob, in your Facebook group, I used to post about a year or two ago, I think. I don't know if you remember or not, but like I always used a random number generator to try and see what's gonna pop up next. Because because I figured like the audience will be skeptical, like if I'm like seeing what's like in front of the screen, you know what I mean? But if I can like see what's gonna pop up like next, then like you can't disprove that. I mean, it's a freaking random number generator like of Google and like whatever other site that's out there and stuff. Like it is random, and so that's what I used to try and do. Have you guys thought about like exploring more? That I can't recall the gentleman's name, but I remember there's several people building softwares like that. I don't know what happened to those.
Yeah, there's several people that have built stuff like. Anthony, who lives down in Costa Rica, he recently built an app, and we're going to put that on the Visual Eyes website. But if anybody joins the Facebook group, it's listed in there also. But, when we get at that intuitive level, we do explore a little bit of these other things. And when people are doing this, those other things will wander out, like going to the near future, going to the near past. And even when we're practicing online, like everybody that's attended a seminar, they can, for the first, month, we do group online practice sessions twice a week. And it's, after that, it's $100 a month for 8 a month. But we continue on with the practicing, but we will throw in this intuitive stuff. And I will, for example, I'll put an object over on the couch and I'll ask everybody to come to my place by remote viewing and tell me what it is. And the whole group will see different attributes of it. And within 2 or 3 minutes, somebody will say what it is. So all these other abilities that are connected, when we're going through that intuitive level, we do encourage people to just experiment with them. Because we found if you try to close one door, you'll close them all. So don't close the doors. If your right brain wants to play and experiment and have fun with some of these other abilities, if they come out spontaneously, work with it. Don't discourage it, because it's like that little boy or little girl playing or learning. If you start discouraging them, then they'll just shut down. So you don't want to do that, so we do mess around a little bit with those other abilities, and just to show people that everybody has it. And I'll have to try that with a random number generator in the next practice session. Thank you for that idea. I'll go on Google and have it present a number, but I'll ask everybody, 30 seconds before what they saw come up in the future on the screen. And it's very likely that many of the folks will see that number.
Yeah, yes, certainly.
About, Rob, and a lot of people said this in the last seminar, is Rob has a structure set up, but he's extremely open to, and he's very flexible. So when people come up with ideas and say, hey, what might work? Rob is always super open, like, let's try it. And so that really made a lot of people just very comfortable and even more confident in coming up with ideas. And it made the seminar better. And the seminar is always going to evolve because of that.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, telekinesis, remote viewing. and the telepathy. There's all sorts of fun stuff you guys can possibly experience, not just Mindsight. So this event will be wonderful. So once again, I'll put the links in the description. So guys, definitely check it out. You guys probably won't be definitely disappointed.